From the Schmoes Know Network studios in Los Angeles, California, it's time for Meet the Movie Press. And now, here's your host, the editor-in-chief of SchmoesKnow.com, Mark Reilly, and from TheWrap, Jeff Sneider.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Schmoville. Welcome to the very first show right out of the gate. This is Meet the Movie Press on the Schmoes Know Network, the very first show. I'm so excited. And as the Pitbox Ken Knapsack said, I am Mark Reilly, a.k.a. Yodi, if some of you know me, editor-in-chief of SchmoesKnow.com. And I'm just really excited because, yeah, we are the first show out of the gate. We are going to be breaking down movie news, movie scoops, what goes into everything that, movie news right now is so popular. We just had Comic-Con. We have news coming in and out. It's become a cultural thing. People are talking about it all the time, and that's what we're going to do. I guess we're the soldiers in this arena. We have our ears to the ground. We are doing the news, and I'm just excited to be here with Jeff Sneider, my co-host from TheWrap.
Thank you very much, Mark.
That was a long introduction to get you involved in this conversation.
It's okay. Listen, I'm excited. We're going to hit the ground running, and I think, we're going to basically look at how your daily entertainment news sausage gets made.
That's right. Because there's a lot that goes into it. There's really two sides of all this now. There's in my opinion, we have the movie bloggers, the movie geek websites, which I run. And then we have you, Jeff, that you actually work for a very reputable trade, TheWrap, that I get all my news from. And when it comes from you, I go, yep, well, this is legit. I'm going to post a story and this is truth. But it's not always like that. And that's what we're going to do on the show. We're going to break it down because there is so much news that goes out there. There's so many rumors. There's so many things that just enter the atmosphere of who's doing this superhero, who's directing the next big Marvel movie. There's so much that goes into this, and there's so many rumors. It's how do you distinguish between what's truth and what's not? And that's why I'm so glad that you are my co-host in this, because I actually feel now that I'm legitimate.
I don't think I legitimize anybody, but no, I do think we're going to have a lot of fun just, with you coming from the sort of movie fan perspective.
Yeah.
I write for an industry audience. So, we're both kind of two sides of the same coin, so to speak.
And that's what I love, because I feel like we're doing something really special by bringing these two worlds together. And you are really, I'm so happy he's my co-host, but you're my first guest. And that's what I want to get into, because I have been following you for years and years and years and years, and completely forgot that you started with AintitCool News, which I feel is the granddaddy of these movie news websites, these geek sites, if you will.
I know it. AintitCool may have lost its luster a little bit in the last few years.
They have.
They've had some staff departures, but make no mistake, they were the granddaddy.
Yeah.
They started this whole thing. We're one of the earliest ones, certainly the biggest at one point, and I'm very proud of my 5 years at the site.
Yeah, well, I remember eating up AintitCool News with the prequels, like Star Wars,
sure,
Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I believe they were
that
some
put
of
them
the,
on the map, sort of.
It really did. Were you with them at that point, or was that a little after your before you started?
I don't believe so. Yeah, no, I didn't start until college. It's actually a really funny story of how I got into it.
Well, please tell, because I want to know everything to start, so that Schmoville, you can know Jeff Sneider now. He is now a resident of Schmoville. He is now a part of this whole big community.
I've got a mailbox and everything in Schmoville.
Absolutely.
I pay taxes there, property taxes.
You're going to also get the bill for the studio there. So keep going, please. I interrupted you.
No. So I went to NYU. I was a screenwriting major at Tisch, and I was reviewing movies for the school paper and stuff.
Okay.
The movies. So I'm sorry. So a friend of mine was working at the NYU radio station as a DJ, and they got invited to see one of the Matrix sequels early.
And nice.
So she intercepted this invite and flipped it over to me, and I went and saw the movie, well before most people had, and I sent in a review to AintitCool. And they took it, they ran it. Harry liked it, and invited me to post more, send more reviews in.
Great.
And so, I was reviewing for the school paper, and anything that I could not get into the paper, I would send to AintitCool. So it started out being, 2-3 reviews a week or whatever. I covered the Tribeca Film Festival for them.
Nice.
Did roundtables and junkets, and that's how I sort of learned how to do the job. So it was a great introduction to, entertainment reporting.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting too, to see like one of the Matrix sequels, are you talking like Reloaded or Revolutions?
I think it was the third one.
Okay, so Matrix Revolutions, right? I can't remember. I forgot those movies already. The first one was the best. But that's a big thing, because when the Matrix first came out, it went up against the Phantom Menace we were talking about.
Sure.
And it kind of blew it away as far as it's a better movie, obviously. And so then for the sequels, everybody was freaking crazy to see these sequels. So for you to get an inside look before it all happens, of course, that's like geek heroin.
Yeah, no, it was cool. AintitCool was a site that I, grew up reading, and to suddenly start seeing my stuff on there. I think I wrote under the handle Mira Jeff because I loved Miramax.
Yes, I remember you now.
Sure. I mean, I started out, when I remember first getting into movie news I was reading Patrick Sariel's site, Coming Attractions, Corona.
Yes,
and I remember the first story I really paid attention to was the casting of Patrick Bateman in American Psycho.
Oh yeah.
And I remember when it was going to be Leonardo DiCaprio for years.
I do remember that too.
And that was sort of my introduction to movie news and that kind of stuff. Dark Horizons, I loved. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I would follow AintitCool News, Dark Horizons. Then I started getting into Joe Blow.
Sure.
And then I'm trying to think of some other ones. And nowadays, there's Collider, there's Screen Rant.
Sure, Slash Film's great.
Slash Film is great. All these. And by the way, we're going to get all these guys on here.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to talking to our colleagues in the space and getting their perspective on what things are like these days, from the trades on down, because it has changed a lot in the few years that I've been doing it.
And that's what I want to talk about to start, because we talk about AintitCool News as the granddaddy of them all, and they kind of started it, and it was my daily to go because I'm the movie geek. I go to AintitCool News to get all my news, and then as I start to branch out and realize there's these other sites, and going there and it's like, whoa, this one's saying this one's saying this, and then also to see it evolve, like to see you go from AintitCool News as Mira Jeff, now I remember, and now you're at TheWrap. Okay, I know you had a stint at Variety as well.
Couple of them.
And then we have Drew McWeeny, the started Hit Fix. This is another one that I go to all the time nowadays. Mm-hmm. And so, again, we're going to invite all these guys in here to talk about
Hopefully we can get them.
Yeah, we can bribe them. We have, I think we have Candy. There's Candy over there. Yeah, Candy. Okay,
an invite to a pool party did it for me.
I know, that was good. Is that what got you to be my co-host? Let's go back a bit, because when did you first learn about Schmoes Know and what we were doing?
So I first learned about Schmoes Know when I started getting scooped by them, and I was like, who the hell? I don't even know if we can swear on this show, but I was like, who the hell are these guys?
Yeah, who the hell is good.
Fair enough. We'll toe the line.
Yeah.
I started, reading the site more, and you guys, you started being consistent about it, and that's when guys like me get nervous, because it's like, I got to protect my turf.
Right.
So I was definitely defensive at first, and
which I appreciated. Actually, I read your tweets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a passionate guy, and I got a bad temper and a big mouth, and that's a dangerous combination.
I like that, though. I mean, I think it's a good balance then, because I have a bad temper, but then I'm also like shy on Twitter sometimes. I don't want to like stir up a hornet's nest, because you never know what you're gonna get. But I like that you do that.
I don't mind playing the heel sometimes.
I like it. I mean, it makes for good entertainment.
It's a performance. I do see Twitter as a sort of performance. I think I'm a lot different.
Absolutely.
Offline.
Yeah, you are. I mean,
the people who take the time to get to know me.
Right, and that's what's funny. So you were, so you became aware of us. You have to protect your turf. And then Christian Harloff reaches out to you.
Right, there was an olive branch.
Yes, the olive branch, which I really appreciated that Christian did. And what he does, because he's done that with a lot of these guys, because I feel like Christian's my pit bull when I'm running the site, and I drop a scoop, and we've dropped some scoops, and at first we had a lot of, I won't say haters, but a lot of naysayers. They're like, who are these guys? Who the hell is Schmoes Know? Are they in a basement
why should
somewhere?
I trust them? Right?
Yeah, why should I trust them? They're a couple of YouTube guys. I thought, no, we actually know a lot of people. I've worked, you say you're a screenwriting major at Tisch. I'm a screenwriter too. That's how I started. Mm-hmm. And so I think we have the love of movies. That's what started it. And now we're in this atmosphere where we're talking about movies, and the whole idea of the scoop is such a big, hot word in this industry, not only with TheWrap, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, but with AintitCool News, Joe Blow,
Sure.
HitFix, SchmoesKnow.com. These are the things that we look for to I know I'm coming from a point of view of inciting a discussion when we drop a scoop. Maybe we don't get it right. Maybe it's a little off. Maybe we, but it gets our fans talking. So with you, when you are, protecting your turf and whatnot, I totally get that. Do you have higher ups, bosses that are looking down and going, we need something to break. What are you working on? Do you have a schedule of things?
I mean, absolutely. I have editors who are definitely checking in and want to know what I'm working on, how I'm spending my time.
Yeah.
I certainly feel a certain amount of pressure to deliver exclusives on a consistent basis, because otherwise I just feel like, what are they paying me for? Right. So I put a lot of pressure on myself.
That's cool.
But yeah, everyone wants to separate themselves from the pack with exclusive content. You want to be able to give readers something that they can't get anywhere else on any other site for at least a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. and that's how Schmoes Know started. I mean, we would cover your stuff, because you were inciting a conversation not only with the rap people and viewers readers, but then you're inciting a conversation with Schmoville, because I'm going, according to Jeff Sneider over at TheWrap, we have blah, blah, blah happening. And then people go either nuts or they go no or whatever. And it's a great conversation. And that's what I love and what we both share, what we do. So I want to go back. So you were at AintitCool. And then where'd you go after AintitCool News?
I wrote for AintitCool News. My last review for them was No Country for Old Men. So by that time, I was an intern at Variety. So there was a bit of overlap in my first few months for my first stint at Variety with AintitCool. Yeah. And then I was at Variety for 2.5 years. Got let go when they laid off a whole bunch of staff. Was unemployed for a while. Got picked up by TheWrap. Was there for close to a year. Went back to Variety. Was there for 2 years, and then went back to TheWrap, where I've been for 1.5 years.
Wow. Musical chairs.
I get around. I'm a bit of a trade. I'm promiscuous with the
trade whore.
I didn't know.
I like it.
I still have to go over what language I can use on this show.
I guess since I posted up on there and whether or not I hit explicit, we'll just play it by ear.
Fair enough.
This is loosey goosey. I mean, we were having fun. If we want to curse, let's curse.
Okay. It'll be natural, organic. Cursing.
Okay. So you've been at TheWrap now for 1.5 years, you said, or about a year and a half.
Yep.
So. What are some of your highs and lows in that atmosphere? I mean, I want to get into how it's all evolved since then, because obviously you went from AintitCool News, then an intern at Variety Rap. In that time, how has this all changed? Because I've been watching it, like you said, AintitCool is, I don't go there much anymore, and that's not to say they don't have great writers there anymore, but I just don't feel that they're as relevant as they were. So that shows that the game has changed.
It's I still go to AintitCool for reviews and interviews.
Yeah, me too.
Excuse me, they're just doing less news.
Yeah.
But they have, I think, more junior people are handling the news.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Quinter Beeks, who I love, both of those guys, they're less focused on the news and more on doing their own stuff, features, interviews, whatever it may be. What was the question?
No, I want to get your thoughts on how this is all evolved.
How it's changed. No, I'll tell you the biggest change. That it has been the fact that when I first got out here, which is about 8 years ago now, you used to be able to pick up a Variety and you would read about done deals.
Right.
And that changed when Mike Fleming, who is the king of the scoopers, he's
Mike Fleming from Deadline.
Mike Fleming from Deadline.com. He was at Variety for 20 years and has a lot of great relationships around town. And so he changed the game basically by going over to Deadline, because then you started reading about people being in negotiations for things. It's like, well, if I feel like this negotiation's gonna this deal's gonna close, why am I waiting for it to close? Why not just report it as in negotiations? And then it became in talks, and then it became in early talks, and then it became an offer, and then it became a meeting. And so we're all kind of scrambling to stay ahead of each other, and unfortunately, and I'm certainly not putting the blame on Mike's feet, but it's made everyone kind of lower their standards a little bit, because everyone wants to be out in front.
Yeah, so the language kind of changes, right? So it's
exactly.
Like, instead of a done deal, you're now in talks or in negotiations. And these things break down all the time.
Sure, but it's not even, you don't even have to get to the talk stage anymore. You just have to be eyed for a role.
Yeah, right, and that makes news. Oh my God, Denzel Washington is being looked at for The Magnificent Seven.
Right.
That is something we broke on schmoesknow.com, but I don't even know if it's going. Do you have an itchy?
I don't know what it is. I'm uncomfortable, but all right.
But that's just a scoop, right? And Denzel could be like sitting in his bathroom at home drinking coffee, going, "I'm up for what?" You know what I mean? It's like, do you think that happens sometimes? That a name is thrown out there. I don't know how it's thrown out there. Rumors, whatever. Maybe a producer talked to another producer who said this guy, who said this, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I listen and I post something on Schmoes Know, and I've heard many actors say, I've never even heard of this.
Right. And half the time they say that, these days they're lying.
They're lying. Yeah.
And I feel like some actors are like, listen, I don't care. They can write whatever they want. Like, it doesn't impact the deal making that I'm actually doing.
Yeah. Right.
So some people don't like it because then they have to answer questions about it, and it's like, well, why'd you fall out of this movie? And they're like, listen, I was never doing it. You know,
right.
Some reporter said I was.
There's the language.
But then there's the other people who's like, yo, just throw my name out there for anything. Any press is good press.
Right.
Whether I'm up for this role or not, I'll take it.
Right. So yeah, that's interesting too. And what about like, because yeah, I'd be walking around at like my old places that I've lived all over in LA, and I see the Daily Variety there on the doorstep, and then it slowly devolved into now it's only online, right? You can't. Well, I mean, I know
has
they still
print.
have the print.
Yeah, it's a weekly thing, and it's good. It looks good.
Yeah, and I still love going into meetings and whatnot, and seeing Hollywood Reporter, seeing Variety. You get the articles. It's a magazine. It's something to actually read. But I feel like what Deadline did was actually create the online now a website that drops these scoops, drops these stories, and that people are now the movie geek world is going to these different websites. I mean, hitting 5 to 10 websites a day, getting their movie fill.
Sure. I mean, the appetite, I don't even know that the demand can be met. There's such an appetite for it, and it's 24/7.
Yeah.
I mean, people are dropping things all night long almost.
I know.
I'll wake up and be shocked at what gets dropped at 11 o'clock at night,
I know. And it gets maddening sometimes to have a personal life, right? I mean, you're sitting there and your phone buzzes at like, midnight because somebody dropped whatever.
Latino Review likes to do that. And I've actually talked to them about that strategy. And, they feel like they get, 9 or 10 hours with the story by themselves, even if it is the middle of the night. These movies, Hollywood is making them for an international audience, and an international audience is reading these scoops now. Yes,
it's such a big thing. And when I talk to some of our business relationships on the website, the international audience is very popular. Mm-hmm. So you're absolutely right, and that's when it's like it's a timing thing, isn't it?
A lot of it. I mean, I know TheWrap prefers to do stuff early in the morning, so that the people in New York see it. You don't want it too late. You try not to drop big stories on a Friday.
Right. Right.
Although, then there are some who argue that dropping on a Friday is great because then you have the weekend and there's not much news on the weekend. So you get like a 3-day play out of it rather than one day.
Yeah. And I feel like if you drop some big news on a Friday night or on a weekend, it's a matter of time. The editor-in-chiefs of all the sites are like, oh, God, now we got to cover this. Okay.
I've had a lot of nights ruined by Boris Kidd and Mike Fleming dropping big stories.
So
and I'm at dinner with, my ex-girlfriend or whatever it is, and be like, honey, I gotta step out. I got to deal with this.
Yeah, I got an alert. I was stepping out of the shower, and I got some alert for some big superhero movie, or maybe it was even Star Wars. I don't know. And I mean, this happens all the time, and I'm just, oh God! And I literally sit down on my towel to write up the story because I know if we can get it out pretty quick after, like, say, Boris drops it, we then get a lot of hits. If we beat Screen Rant or Collider, and guys, if you're listening to this, I'm not beating you. I'm wanting my audience to get that because it's 24/7. It's massive consumption of information here. So I want to get it out fast.
Yeah, you have to act fast. I mean, I know I can remember. Being at Sundance, getting scoops, and I'm in the shower, and I have to throw a towel on, run downstairs to the computer. There's shampoo in my hair. I'm soaking wet. It's freezing, and I'm sitting in a towel naked across from my boss.
Yeah, there you go.
Filing, an acquisition story. So
that is so funny.
You don't have seconds to spare in this stuff.
And there's something that I was talking about as we were waiting to come in here, and that was a very similar situation that you just described, where I was at Comic-Con, prepping for Comic-Con, and I was in the bathroom. I am human. And you dropped a certain scoop, a certain exclusive.
I was dropping things. You were dropping things.
I was. That is exactly true.
This is a grown-up show, Mark.
This is such a grown-up show. I'm going to tweet that. That was brilliant. But I was dropping some business of my own, and you dropped a pretty hot scoop, something that blew me away because I had been hearing other names for a long time, reporting on these names. So many people have been reporting on these names, but you threw a name out there for Doctor Strange. Marvel's Doctor Strange, everybody. You know that. Everybody knows Doctor Strange, right?
The Sorcerer Supreme.
The Sorcerer Supreme. And Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, that was a thunderous mic drop right there.
It was.
I loved it.
My fingers, I'm just praying it makes to make me look good.
Well, I love that it came before Comic-Con. It kind of started things off, in my opinion, which is it's really cool. It's a comment on what the news is and how it's evolving and how it's always moving. That you dropped that on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, I was surprised. Kevin Feige was talking about it all week, and he was like, "Yeah, we're negotiating with somebody. I don't know if we'll be able to announce it. I don't know if the deal will close." So it's like I was shocked at how kind of open he was. It was almost like a dare. It was like, I've got my man, and now let's see if anyone of you guys can get it.
Okay,
and it was hard.
Okay, so walk me through that. I see. This is what I love. I love the behind the scenes stuff. And I think Schmoeville wants to know.
We're going to go as behind the scenes as I can take you without giving up anybody.
I know. You can't do that, so I understand.
I do protect my sources, and I protect them well.
That's good. You should.
Sure, no, it's funny what you're offering. Like, I'll give you this, this, and this if you just tell me who told you that. And you have to be like, do you know how journalism works?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, no, with Doctor Strange, I had gotten a tip, and the name that I kept hearing, and you saw a lot of bloggers come to the forefront and say it after I dropped the Joaquin thing, Justin Theroux.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That is where it all kind of started for me. That's when I got serious about the sort of hunt.
Okay.
So I started, looking into Justin Theroux, and it made a lot of sense. I mean, he's got a lot of heat coming off The Leftovers. He's dating Jennifer Aniston, so he's in a high profile relationship. He's on the cover of a lot of tabloids and stuff like that. And he's a good actor.
Yeah, he sounds like a good Doctor Strange.
And he looks like he could fit the part. So I started kind of, rattling cages about that. And in the course of that reporting, I got two other names, and those were Joaquin Phoenix and Benedict Cumberbatch. Now,
Cumberbatch, I've heard.
Right. Yeah. Now, Benedict was one of the first three names rumored, along with Tom Hardy and Jared Leto.
Yep.
And I initially dismissed Tom Hardy because I was just like, I know how crazy busy this guy is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got, he's doing The Revenant.
Yep, he's doing Mad Max. He's starting a new franchise there.
He's got the Elton John movie, and he's got Splinter Cell. He's got a lot on his plate. So I was like, okay, it's not going to be him. Jared Leto. I love Jared Leto, and he was amazing in Dallas Buyers Club. He does not strike me as the sort of guy who's going to be a Marvel hero.
Because I know at least the source material for Doctor Strange, he doesn't fit, in my opinion, the Doctor Strange character. And
I just know, I think he's really looking to get his own directorial career off the ground.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of dismissed those two names and focused on Cumberbatch, especially when it was like, it's Joaquin or Cumberbatch. Well, that's easy. I mean, you hear this about Joaquin. You hear about him being courted for a lot of blockbusters, and you always just dismiss them because he's literally the last actor in Hollywood, maybe aside from Daniel Day-Lewis, who you would assume would ever do anything like this.
Right.
So I just dismissed it. I thought nothing of it and focused on Cumberbatch. And it took a day to finally get some real clarity on. I don't think that this is a game. I don't think he's available.
Okay.
And then he did an interview with, what was it, Josh Horowitz at MTV?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he seemed like he was being very genuine. He's already done the whole I'm not Khan thing. It's also like how many blockbusters you need between Star Trek and Hobbit, and
he's also he was always rumored for Star Wars, so he was getting Star Wars questions left and right, and then Doctor Strange rumors start coming and bubbling, and
he would make a great Strange, but it seemed like what he was saying, his denials were genuine.
Yeah. So
then I I'm like, geez, let's go back to the Joaquin stuff. Now, when I had approached his team, because obviously you have to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
I had been like, listen, I think Joaquin's like the last person in the world who would sign a 6-picture deal or whatever Marvel typically makes actors do. But is there anything to this?
Yeah.
And they said he would never sign a deal like that. And I was like, okay, well, forget it.
Yeah.
And then, about 24, 48 hours later, I'm like, I never, that's not a real answer, actually. Like, it doesn't say what is if he's doing Doctor Strange. They just said he wouldn't do.
Yeah, and I want to go back. Like, were you on the phone and he would never do that?
No.
Is it like, I mean, I had body language
and
over the phone.
This was an official inquiry. This was not an off-the-record sort of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, they just, I'm telling you, I got a response from Joaquin's team saying he would never make a deal like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, fair enough. But then I started thinking, well, what if it's not a deal like that? What if it's just 1 or 2 movies or, 3 movies tops? What if it's not one of these 6 or 9 picture deals?
I like that.
I went back to them eventually and was like, listen, is he in negotiations for Doctor Strange? And no comment. And same deal from Marvel, officially on the record. So when you get, if something's not true, generally they'll just tell you it's not true. And because you have relationships with these people, you're inclined to believe them. I've been told things aren't true that then become true. Sure, it happens, especially when things are really sensitive in the Marvel or DC universe or Star Wars.
Right. Those are the 3 big ones, I think.
Right. But yeah, typically you would just get a no, and in this case it was just no comments, and so then you start making more calls, and eventually I got confident enough where it was like, there's something to this, and I've got to be the first person to throw his name out there. After I got a couple more people echoing that's what they were hearing, that's where the conversation was, and as soon as I posted, or within an hour, all the other trades followed. So I don't know if Joaquin Phoenix is going to do it. I think he would be amazing. You can only say no to this stuff for so long, I feel like, and maybe he is finally ready to take on something like this. What do you think? Yeah,
well, I think it makes sense with Marvel's track record. If I go from the movie geek perspective versus the trades and what you're rattling the cages and you're getting, by the time you're finally getting, so there's something here. For me, as a fan, and going to report on it immediately, it makes sense. Like Robert Downey Jr., for Marvel to go on that ledge and cast Robert Downey Jr. after all of the, that hooey that he went through. I didn't even like to talk about it because the guy's awesome.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And he was so perfect for the role. And so that kind of set the standard for these actors taking on these iconic superhero roles. So Joaquin Phoenix makes absolute sense to me.
And Strange is not your traditional sort of superhero.
No, he's not. He's weird. Joaquin Phoenix is weird.
Right. And what actually, I don't know how close you read my story, but the story about the paragraph about the co-stars I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, so, recap that, because
he has worked with Scarlett Johansson and Mark Ruffalo and Don Cheadle and a whole bunch of people who are in the Marvel universe, and I feel like those people show that you can go back and forth between doing these serious movies that Joaquin does, and then balancing them with big ticket superhero fare.
So he's looking at his buddies, and he's like,
and they're saying, it's not like you're selling
cool,
out
man.
Here.
Yeah, and especially Marvel, who puts out consistently good blockbusters.
Right.
I mean, sure, you can nitpick them all you want, but in my opinion, they're always so good. They're always entertaining popcorn movies. You get it. Again, I'm not going to rant on Transformers. We can't go there, which we had a little conversation where we walked out of the press screening there. So that to me is a different sort of blockbuster, one that's just kind of cobbled together, thrown up on the screens, and there you go. With Marvel, it's different. It's you have this care in casting as well. So if we're talking Joaquin Phoenix, that is such an interesting choice for me. So what do you think? So I know you mentioned crossing fingers that it's true.
I mean, I'll put it this way. It's been a week since we put it out there, basically, and no other names have surfaced. And,
nope.
If this thing was going to fall apart, it would have fallen apart overnight, I think.
I think so, too. And
so, it'll be very interesting.
And then it's interesting, too, that I want to comment on that we went right into Comic-Con after that scoop. And everybody was expecting, at least from the Marvel panel, the announcement of at least a Doctor Strange movie, at least a Captain America 3. Well, we know Captain America 3. Sorry, Thor 3 release date. You know, maybe some other characters that have been rumored, like Captain Marvel, or, you know, are we going to get an Ant-Man 2, or especially an Incredible Hulk, another standalone Hulk movie, Black Panther. All these names have been coming out there, and at least Doctor Strange was on there because we know Scott Derrickson is, you know, directing it. So we know it's coming, but yet we get nothing. Do you think your scoop changed anything? I mean,
I wouldn't be.
I know, not to give you a big head.
I'm pretty arrogant, but I wouldn't be so arrogant as to presume anything like that. You know, I don't think that it changed anything. I don't think that I never thought that they were going to announce Strange. I don't think the deal was ready. Yeah, you know, you have to wait until this stuff is done, because I've seen how close things can get to the finish line, and then they just fall apart. And Marvel is the last company that wants egg on its face. Yeah. Especially after the Edgar Wright stuff. Yeah.
I was just going to say, with Ant-Man stuff happening now and losing Patrick Wilson, right? They did that. Right. Came out during Comic-Con.
That was a bummer. You know, I was kind of looking forward to seeing him in that movie.
I was too. And I mean, you know,
they haven't recast yet. We'll see who they get.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's the fact that they changed the name from Janet Van Dien to Hope Van Dien. Like, there's now this Twitter thing happening. This, like, you know, you're ruining the source material. There's a lot of
everything's ruining everything.
I know there's
Michael
a lot
B.
of
Jordan's ruining Fantastic Four.
See, and I personally, you know, you're a screenwriter too, right? I'm a screenwriter. We like story, and sometimes the comics don't lend themselves to a movie. You have to kind of take some liberties, right? If you want to change the character's name. I mean, again, I'm not an Ant-Man enthusiast, fan. I don't read the comic books. I'm more interested in the movie. So whatever they do to make it good is fine by me.
You need to give a filmmaker the chance to have artistic license.
Yeah, and you can't be chained to the comic book and say, do this. So
yeah, I never understood that thinking. But like, I was curious, you know, when you said you were waiting for Marvel to announce
Hulk, Black Panther, Captain Marvel.
No. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Now, to me, it's like, well, why are people waiting on this announcement? This movie's happening. Scott Derrickson said he's directing it. Like, I don't understand why in this day and age we need to wait for the official. It's not real until Marvel says it is.
Well, it brings up the next point, I think, too, because there was a lot of talk about who won Comic-Con, Marvel versus DC, and I think that's a kind of a rhetorical question. I think that it's not about...
The fans won Comic-Con, right?
Yeah, the fans win. And you got to see Batman versus Superman footage. You got to see the Avengers trailer. They announced Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which was announced, you know, before the Marvel panel.
Things get announced over and over these days.
Yeah. So I think people were looking... There was like a picture that was going around Instagram and social media that had all the Marvel title treatments you know, Incredible Hulk, or
it looked cool.
Yeah, it looked really cool, but apparently it's not real. So a lot of the fans were like, "Oh my God, this is what's happening." So then we go to the geek websites, right, and they're commenting on this, and they're like, "Oh my God, when are we going to get, you know, I think now the announcement, we know it's coming. I think they want to know who Doctor Strange is, so that's why your scoop was so enticing. You know, it's Joaquin Phoenix. I personally hope it's Joaquin Phoenix over everybody else. Yeah. I think that would fit. I think that would fit really nicely. Now, then you look at the other side of things like DC. And they didn't announce anything. We know that Terrio, the screenwriter for Argo, is now writing Justice League.
Yep.
Justice League is happening, okay?
Yes.
However, Nikki Fink dropped something a while ago saying that this is the Comic-Con schedule, what they're going to announce at Comic-Con. And it was a Flash Green Lantern movie. It was a Shazam movie. It was Wonder Woman movie. It was Man of Steel 2. No Batman in there, although Latino Review is saying that they're working on The Batman, so we'll see.
The standalone.
Yeah, the standalone. What else is there that I'm missing?
I totally believe Latino Review in that, too. I mean,
I do, too.
Well, you don't get Ben Affleck to play Batman and then not give him his own movie.
Yeah, absolutely not. And a lot of people are even talking about him directing it, which...
That would be so cool.
I would flip.
We reported at Variety years ago, you know, that they did definitely go to him for Justice League.
Yeah, I actually heard they went to him for Star Wars as well.
Wow.
I heard that he was like number 2 behind JJ. That is something that, oh man, we could talk for hours on
Going
this.
down the rabbit hole. It's a separate podcast.
That's a separate podcast. So in terms of DC, Comic-Con, and Nikki Fink, you working with the trades, and Nikki Fink being she's such a hot topic, or a hot button topic, I should say. You know, she got fired from her own company, it seems. That's probably not exactly what happened, but you're on the ground. You have your ear to the ground. Have you heard anything from DC and these titles?
Honestly, I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that there's going to be a Shazam movie. You know, judging from The Rock's daily Twitter feed.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
You know, we're getting Batman vs Superman. They've announced Sandman. That's
Sandman.
real. Justice League is real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I assume that there will be a Wonder Woman movie.
Why wouldn't there be?
Yeah, I mean, we need a big female superhero movie.
We do.
And I think that they need to, if DC really wants to do something special, they get that movie out before the Black Widow spinoff, if there is in fact one.
Yeah, or even Captain Marvel, if the rumors hold to be true.
Right.
And Captain Marvel is a woman. I learned this from Tiffany Smith. I had no idea. I'm like, Captain Marvel, oh, who's that? Is he a good guy? And it's like, ugh, she's female.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, females can be captains too.
Yes, they can. And I hope they do. Yeah, but that would be a great. I think everybody wants a Wonder Woman movie ever since Joss Whedon was working on a Wonder Woman movie and got, fired, I guess, or let go. And I wonder if, Warner Brothers is looking back and going, shit.
They probably wish that they had that one back.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
so I buy the first 5 films in this lineup, and I'm sure that there will be a direct Man of Steel sequel too, I would imagine.
Absolutely. It all makes sense.
But I don't know, that Flash Green Lantern one.
That's the one I hover on and go, huh?
Yeah.
Because Green Lantern bombed. So we don't know if Ryan Reynolds is going to be canon anymore. Is he going to be the main actor? Are they going to recast it?
Oh, I think that they have to.
I think so too. Unfortunately, I do like Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern.
They got to. I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan. But
me too.
They need to cleanse the palate on that one.
I think they need to cleanse the palate, and I think he needs to go and do Deadpool. I would love to see that.
Well, I know that footage leaked, and I just like that's another one. I know.
I read your tweet.
Sorry. I know. Rob he was teasing me on Twitter, but
yeah. I liked it, but it was all CGI. I mean, so it was a sizzle reel, so to speak. And I think I could see it, but I can also see the cracks. You know, what I mean, like it's just a sizzle reel.
I just think that studios need to be real careful about comic book burnout, comic book movie burnout, especially when you start getting into the secondary and third, those
the B
characters,
teams,
the B and C and D teams.
Yeah, which I would argue though that they thought Iron Man was the B team or the C team. At one point.
I mean, I knew what Iron Man was as a kid.
Yeah.
And some of these properties I hear about these days, I'm like, who knows what that is? I don't even know.
Now it's interesting.
Kids don't read comics anymore, do they?
I think some of them do. I'm not sure. I mean, I know that there are grown men like me that go into the comic shops and read these.
Sure.
And there's a whole culture for that. I mean, yeah, but are the kids doing it anymore? I mean,
I just feel like people don't read in general.
Yeah, that's very true. They're reading their phone right now, their latest text message to their girlfriend or something.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm surprised at how many comic book movies are in development and how many don't feature marquee heroes. But we'll see. Guardians is obviously the big test today, and it's going to be a success. I think it's going to be a real success.
It's the biggest opening Thursday night of the summer.
Okay.
So that's a good sign.
I didn't even check out the box office this morning. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. It's I don't know the actual number, but they say it's the biggest of the year, at least the summer.
I think it's going to overperform, and
I think so too.
Listen, I'm the opposite of you, actually. I have not loved any of the Marvel movies.
Really?
No, I thought.
Okay, let's talk.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Marvel guy, but I'm actually really looking forward to Guardians and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange because they just seem different. I don't want to see a big muscly guy who can beat people up.
We've seen it.
Run fast. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it all. So.
And I think what Guardians is doing, it's for me, it's the closest thing to an original movie as we're getting in this market right now, because Guardians is such a obscure comic run. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know about it until it was announced. I was like, huh? Then I went into the comic book, and they, of course, timed it beautifully, and they had this new launch of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'd never heard of it until Marvel said they were making this movie.
I can't wait to see just the team. Like, I loved Watchmen. So,
yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm going to see it this weekend.
Yeah, me too. So, I think that the superhero fatigue or the franchise fatigue, I think maybe Spider-Man is getting that right now, but I feel like Marvel isn't slowing down, and they are turning to these the B teams. But like you said, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy, they're so interesting. They're different types of superheroes, and so that's why what I feel Marvel does very well. So you're not a fan, that's fine, or is that too strong of a term? Not a fan?
I just don't get why everyone loves the movies. I mean, I kind of get what the hype was with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Again, that's a team-up movie.
Sure.
But yeah, no, individually, I haven't flipped for any of these movies.
Okay. Yeah,
but I like the Captain America sequel.
Yeah, that was good.
I like the first Iron Man.
Okay, how about the DC universe? Did you like Man of Steel?
I loved the first hour and did not like the second hour when
Okay.
it just evolved into a punch fest. But
Yeah.
in general, I like DC and its stable of characters more. I'm a Batman guy more than
Yeah.
Spider-Man or anything else.
Yeah, I'm a Superman guy, but very close second is Batman.
Okay.
And so the footage that was released, did you see the footage?
I saw a
leaked
very
footage?
grainy. Yeah. You couldn't even tell what the hell was happening.
Yeah, the geekasms in the background when Superman's like hanging and hovering in the bat signal. I mean, everybody went. I mean, people were like, oh.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be really cool to see. And so, getting back to the scoop that Nikki dropped, look, Justice League is happening. We know that. Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. It's obvious we are getting a Justice League movie. So why wouldn't you then go off of that and say you're going to have a Wonder Woman movie? Is a Shazam movie still is weird to me. I'm not really big up on
Me too.
Shazam. I don't know a lot about it, and I guess he's a part of the Justice League, so it makes sense to have these offshoots of the core group of Justice League goers. They're going to have their own movie. So this makes sense till we get to Flash and Green Lantern. It's going to be interesting to see what DC does. How are they going to... I mean, I think right now they're only focused on Batman versus Superman and Justice League.
But I kind of like that they're focused on getting these movies right rather than... you have to learn to crawl before you learn to walk.
Right. And look, Marvel's been doing it a little bit longer. They've already set the standard in their business. What they're doing. They had a template in mind and they're running with it and it's working. DC, what I think a lot of fans, the geeks like me, need to understand is like they're doing something different. It's not about who's beating the other person. They're making... Man of Steel was the start of it all. So that's the new universe. And so then we're getting Dawn of Justice, then we're going to get Justice League, then we're going to get fill in the blanks. And I think that's what we're doing every day is we have our ear to the ground going, who's going to be Aquaman? Who's going to be Wonder Woman? Who's going to be Shazam? That's the next big one, I think, because The Rock's teasing the hell out of everybody.
Right.
And so we're waiting on that as much as we're waiting to see if Joaquin Phoenix is going to be Doctor Strange, as well as we're waiting to hear if The Flash and Green Lantern are going to be cast, and if Flash and Green Lantern are going to be a pair-up movie.
Right. Well, I'm curious to see who Scoot McNairy is playing in this Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people that they've given me, like some of my writers on the site, they've been giving me their opinions on who it is, and some are calling him Flash. Some all are calling him Flash.
I know that they, the studio likes him. Ben Affleck likes him. Obviously, Scoot was in Argo. I think Scoot's a really, really good actor. I love him on *Halt and Catch Fire*. So
yeah,
I don't think that he's going to be someone who just pops up for a few minutes to say hi.
No.
I mean, I hope that Warner Brothers goes at its own pace because there is no point in rushing this just to catch up to Marvel because you're not going to. They're too far out in front. Just do your own thing.
Yeah. And the fans will follow because I was commenting, I was talking with Christian and the Schmoes over Comic-Con. I think it's more interesting. We know what we're kind of getting look-wise, tone-wise with Marvel movies. DC is the one that's the most interesting because we haven't seen these big characters together. And that is what we are waiting for. And, I'm excited to see what's going to come out, and that's what we're going to be talking about. These scoops that we're going to find out, like who's going to be playing these things. And did we just get breaking news?
We've got breaking news in the studio.
Let's just do it. What is it?
David Zayas from Dexter, who I loved him on Dexter. He's going to be playing Sal Maroni on Gotham, according to Nelly Andriva, Deadline exclusive.
Very nice. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, as much as everybody wants to hear about Star Wars or DC movies or Marvel movies, look, we got DC television shows just burning it up right now with Arrow, The Flash, and now Gotham.
I can't say I plan to watch any of them, but I think that is cool casting.
That is cool casting. I'm going to watch Gotham.
Batista.
Yes. I'm watching Gotham just because I'm a Batman fan.
Okay.
And I want to see I don't know what's happening as far as, like, they're introducing a lot of the villains, a lot of the rogue gallery. It's going to be interesting to see, but we are going to be there to report on it, and we're going to
from the front lines,
and we're going to be talking about it here. So that's our first show.
You just met the movie press, son.
You just met the movie press, son. Oh, that should be our tagline. That should really be our tagline. You just met the movie press, son. So, you know what, Jeff? Thank you so much for being my co-host and my first interview, my first guest.
I'm excited, man. Thank you for having me, Mark.
I'm so glad. And so this is
fun.
Yeah, we are going to have fun. So we are going to have...
if I can wake up early enough on Friday mornings.
Good Lord, I know. That's why I'm like, you know, hovering with a lot of coffee right now. But we are excited because, yes, guys, we are going to be asking so many people to join us on this show. We're going to be going after, you know, Variety people. We're going to be going after Hollywood Reporter people, Collider people, Screen Rant, Joe Blow. There's so many people, Hit Fix, Drew McWeeny. We have so many guys that we want to get on the show to talk about what they do, to talk about this news, to see what the passion is behind it, like the language, the evolving nature of this, God, this landscape, this crazy dropping scoops.
Should we start a hashtag? Should we say if you have questions for us or want to hear us cover certain things, just, you know, use the hashtag #MeetTheMoviePress?
That was my next. You took it right out of my words.
There you
go. If you have any question, guys, hashtag #MeetTheMoviePress. Tweet me. I'm at Reilly Around. Tweet Jeff Sneider. He's the In Snider, right?
Yeah.
At In Snider. Drop us some lines on schmoesknow.com. Go check out TheWrap. I mean, he's on there every day dropping scoops like Joaquin Phoenix and beating the hell out of us over here at Schmoes Know, which I love. But yeah, we want to hear from you guys. So hashtag #MeetTheMoviePress. You can hit us up at Schmoes Know, hit us up at Reilly Around, hit us up at the In Snider, and hashtag #MeetTheMoviePress with some questions that you want us to answer, that you would like us to discuss on this show.
Or guests that you'd like to have us try and go after.
Absolutely. Guests that you would like us to have.
Your favorite movie bloggers.
Yep, your favorite movie bloggers. And you know what? Why don't you tag them on Twitter and loop us in, and we'll start a conversation on Twitter. That can get us going.
Sounds good.
So thank you guys for tuning into the very first Meet the Movie Press. I'm also excited to announce that next week we are going to have Amy
Nicholson.
Amy Nicholson from LA Weekly is going to be joining us.
Fantastic critic. Yeah,
she's a great critic. She's got a new book out, and it's The Anatomy of a Movie Actor, and it's Tom Cruise.
We're talking Tom Cruise next week. My God.
How can you not? We have loads of stuff to talk about with Tom Cruise. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us for Meet the Movie Press. Please go ahead and subscribe to the Schmoes Know YouTube channel. Schmoes Know, it's at YouTube/Schmoes Know podcast. That's where you're going to see all of us. And then when this iTunes link goes up, go ahead and click on that, subscribe, comment, rate it. We want you guys along this journey with us because we're going to have a lot of exciting stuff happening. So thank you very much. I am Mark Reilly, a.k.a. Yodi.
Jeff Sneider. Have a great Guardians of the Galaxy weekend, folks.
Hell yeah. Enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy, and we'll see you next week.
From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know Network crew, we would like to thank you for listening to Meet the Movie Press. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Schmoes Know Network episodes, get movie news, or join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of Schmoes Know